And thank you for listening to the Mark Scaringi Show. This is the place where we put the Constitution first. We talk about the political and legal issues of the day from putting America first. And our topic now is Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the art of deflection. This past Tuesday, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth went to Capitol Hill to ask for tens of billions more of your tax dollars for Trump's war in Iran. What the American people got instead of answers was a masterclass in talking points, cliches, and a refusal to admit failure. It's called the art of deflection. Pete Hegseth sat before the Senate Appropriations Committee and told lawmakers the war had already cost $37.5 billion. He's now asking for roughly $87 to $95 billion more in supplemental funding to keep Trump's war going. Senators wanted basic information. What exactly are we trying to achieve at this point? Has the primary objective been met? Why is the Strait of Hormuz still disrupted months later? Why are American troops still dying? Why should the public believe the next tens of billions of dollars will succeed where the first $37 billion did not? Those are all reasonable and legitimate questions. What they received from our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, was deflection. His first tactic: repeat the slogan no matter the question. When senators pressed Secretary of War Hegseth on results, costs, or contradictions, Hegseth returned to the same line. I would say, quote, this is a quote from Secretary Hegseth, I would say ensuring Iran never has a nuclear weapon. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Our objective is that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. How many times, and I should have counted how many times Secretary of War Pete Hegseth responded to a specific question about strategy, about costs, about goals with Iran may never have a nuclear weapon. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That's not an answer to the question. Hegseth used it as a shield, this cliche or slogan as a shield. Every difficult follow-up question was met with the talking point instead of a direct response. That is not strategy, and that is not openness and transparency with the American people. That is the Secretary of War using a simple slogan to avoid answering the question and to avoid accountability. Secretary Hegseth's second tactic: refused to stand by his own previous statements. Senator Jon Ossoff confronted Hegseth with his words from day 14 of the war when Hegseth claimed Iran's military had been destroyed and made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war, several months ago, by the way. Senator Ossoff asked, was that an accurate statement? Hegseth would not give a clean yes or no. He offered a partial defense. Well, their navy was sunk. The Air Force rendered ineffective. The defense industrial base of Iran gone. But would not own the original claim. And by the way, I heard Secretary Hegseth say Iran's blue navy was sunk. Iran never had a blue water navy. I don't know that Secretary of War Hegseth knows what a blue water navy is. In any event, Senator Ossoff finally said, you will not answer whether your statement made on the 14th day of the war was a truthful statement to the American people as you sit here and ask for tens of billions more for the conflict. Hegseth responded with no clarification. That is not a clarification, that's evasion. Secretary of War Hegseth's third tactic: attack the questioner when the policy is challenged. When Senator Gary Peters called the war effort an utter and complete failure to win this war, Hegseth accused him of being reckless and smearing the troops. Peters answered forcefully, you, sir, are the failure, not the men and women who are on that front line, not the men and women who hold up their honor with distinction. Now, this is a classical and cynical move by Pete Hegseth turned criticism of his leadership and strategy into an alleged attack on the troops themselves. No senator was attacking the troops. No senator was attacking the U.S. soldiers who were required to fight Trump's war. They were challenging Trump and Hegseth's objectives and goals and accomplishments. And all Hegseth could do was respond by accusing these senators of smearing the troops. Hegseth's responses were designed to shut down debate. Hegseth's fourth tactic: demand straight talk while refusing to give it yourself. Even Republican Senator John Kennedy grew frustrated. He asked clear questions about what would happen if the United States stopped military action and whether Iran would simply rebuild. When the answers stayed vague, Kennedy cut in. He said, "We need straight answers." And later, Senator Kennedy said, "God, I want straight answers. We need straight answers." Well, Hegseth didn't give Senator Kennedy, a Republican supporter of the war, straight answers. The man asking for more money, for more of your taxpayer dollars, could not or would not give straight answers about the state of the war he is asking taxpayers to keep funding. That is not what his job is when he sits before the Senate Appropriations Committee, the committee responsible for doling out your taxpayer dollars. That is what the hearing revealed. It revealed that the Secretary of War cannot give a straight answer to a question. And the Secretary of War did not give a clear-eyed assessment of costs versus results. He did not explain the progress of the war. All he did was repeat the same sentence, dodge his own past claims, attack his critics, and refuse to admit the obvious. After 5 months, the war has not delivered the clean result that was promised. The Strait of Hormuz is not restored to normal. American service members continue to die. The bill for the U.S. taxpayers keeps climbing. And the administration is back before Congress asking for tens of billions more while treating hard questions as disloyalty or smearing the troops. Hegseth continually repeating Iran will not have a nuclear weapon is not an answer to any question that he was asked. And Hegseth failed to provide any strategy for how he is going to win this war. Repeatedly stating Iran will not have a nuclear weapon is not justification for refusing to tell the American people the truth about a war that has already cost tens of billions of dollars and 18 American lives. The first casualty of war is truth. On Tuesday, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth made sure that casualty, the truth, continues to be an injury and a harm to the American people. He continues to lie and deceive and deflect about a war that his President Trump got this country into and can't seem to get us out. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for listening to the Mark Scaringi Show. Stay vigilant in putting America first.